What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our On the Road to ATD23 video series. In this video, I'm sitting down with Sardek Love, CEO of Sardek Love International, to hear what's got him excited about this year's conference, how he gets ready to own a room before a presentation, and what tools you can expect to walk away with from his session. So grab a seat, get comfy, and let's dive right in. Hi, Sardek. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of On the Road to ATD23. How are you today?
Jess, I'm fantastic. It's an exciting time. I'm thrilled to be a part of this. So thanks for the invitation. I'm looking forward to having this chat with you.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I'm really excited to chat about your session at ATD23. But before we do that, did you want to share a little bit about you? How many years you've been attending ATD's International Conference and Expo, and what you're most excited about at this year's conference?
Wow. So let me start with the years I've been attending the ATD International Conference. I've spoken at this conference. Let's forget about attendance. Spoken at this conference every year, except for 1 year, since 2002. So I believe that takes me up to like 22 speaking times at ICE. So wow. Yeah, so I've been around for a little bit with ICE, and it's been a blessing ever since 2002. And I think I attended just for the first time. That might have been actually my first time attending it. I was part of the National Advisors for Chapters, and so I was speaking at different venues around with ATD. So it was a blessing. And a little bit about Sardek. So Sardek is, I'm affectionately known as the engagement expert, especially in training. So people know me now for all the activities and how I train trainers on how to be highly engaging, whether in person, virtual, it doesn't matter. If you teach, train, or deliver any type of presentation, engagement is the key. And I'm one of those people that does it, and I teach others how to do it really well.
Awesome. Wow. So I'm so curious to know how the conference has changed from when you first started presenting to now. And I think that's another conversation for another time. But speaking about your session, your session this year is called Mastering Participant Engagement, 3 Ways to Own a Room. So I'm curious, do you have a warm-up routine or something to hype yourself up to help you own a room before you present or facilitate any kind of training?
Great question. Now, when it comes to warming up, it depends a little bit on the venue, right? Because I do various different, and a lot of trainers do a lot of different venues. And so if it's the speaking side of things where I'm on a stage like I will be here at ICE, this is pretty common for me to do visualization. So I'm a martial artist. I studied Taekwondo for over 30 years. And one of the things about Taekwondo is visualizing your opponent's next move. And so I visualize what it looks like. I'll go to the venue, the stage, I'll walk the stage, I'll look around. And in the case of ICE with the conference, my session will be hybrid. So there'll be cameras. I'll look at the cameras to make sure I don't lose sight of the folks that are virtual. So all visualization, I envision myself walking the stage, looking at the audience, that sort of thing. And then for those who are in a classroom, what I do there is I do what most people do. I play some music. I got my favorite hype songs, and I'll play those songs and just get myself hyped up while I'm setting up with my earphones or earbuds in, and I'm good to go.
That's awesome. It's kind of like a little bit of a rehearsal, almost like a dress rehearsal, but not physically there. But yeah, that's really interesting. I love that.
Yeah, a lot of pro athletes do that too. They envision, hitting the winning shot or scoring the winning goal. So it's a pretty powerful technique to get up there. And so it's about muscle memory. And once I'm there, I'm in the zone. So that's what I do to get in the zone. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot of folks, whether they're virtual or in person, are going to have a great time at your session. Can you tell us a little bit more about your session, share a little bit of details, and what you hope participants will walk away from, and what sort of tools they can add to their toolkit after your presentation?
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. Interestingly enough, so I kind of landed on my current format of delivery of conference sessions with ICE, with ATD ICE. back in 2011, where I kind of did this program called Facilitating with Impact or something like that. And it just stuck in 2011. And ever since then, I've just continued to evolve it and, call it different things. But now, with the evolution of me really focusing on engagement, that's what this program is all about. And I actually rolled this out for the first time at ATD Core 4 in New Orleans, this mastering participant engagement and 3 ways to own the room. So this session is for training professionals who want to come and learn some of the basic science behind engagement that actually leads to massive participant engagement. And I figured out the formula. So at the heart of what I do, Jess, I'm a performance consultant. And in other words, what I do is I look at habits of what people do and the habits that are required for success. So this session is going to look at 3 things in particular. We're going to look at what everyone seems to forget, because the number one challenge that training professionals have, and I do this research every year, multiple times throughout the year, is a lack of participant engagement. So I'm going to look at sharing the principle. I have a law that I've created called the law of engagement. And so we're going to talk about how that law pertains to what every trainer should do on a regular basis. So that's one of the 3 pillars of engagement. The second pillar is going to be, we're going to look at using training activities. And I'm known in the training industry and at the conference for engaging audiences, whether it's 1,500, whether it's 20, whatever. So I'll demonstrate 1 or 2 experientials that people can apply back on the job immediately. And then the third pillar, aside from the Curious Ask method and the law of engagement, and then the training activities, the third thing is going to be how to tell stories that help your training stick and make you unforgettable. So I did a lot of that in my most recent book, and we're going to look at the formula out of Presentation Essentials. So I'm going to embed that as a third pillar because it is part of engagement. A lot of trainers they've never been trained on how to tell a story. And we're going to have fun doing all of this. It's going to be, I promise, it's going to be memorable, and people know when they come to my session, the Twitter feed will go live and be hot with some of the things I'm going to do to you.
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. It sounds like there's so many practical tips and strategies that you're going to share at your session. I think storytelling is such an important tool to have in your toolkit. And I'm excited to attend your session. Where can folks find your session at ATD23 this year?
So I'm going to be on Tuesday, the 24th, I believe it is. And it's going to be the last session of the day. Now, the interesting thing about that timing, this is how you know when people really want to come to a session. Because my session is right before we go to one of the things I'm most excited about, and I didn't mention this, is the networking night. Because when we go to this conference, I love the networking. And this one and I've been, we've had this at San Diego. In fact, my first book was released back in 2018 at ICE in San Diego. But that Petco Park networking night is going to be phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to that. So my session is the last session before people go to that. So there's going to be committed people both online and in person for those who are in person to come to my session. But the good news is the enticement and the benefit of coming and the reward is going to be phenomenal. You will walk out of that session on Tuesday, 4:30 to 5:30. And I promise you'll be transformed because I'm going to share the one thing out of that first pillar of engagement, the law of engagement. It's a formula. It's a 5-second formula for asking the right question, the right time, every time. So if that entices people to come, which usually it does, we'll have some fun with that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm just energized listening to you speak, and I can't wait to see it all happen at the conference this year. Sardek, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of On the Road to ATD23. It's such a pleasure to finally meet you virtually, and I'm really looking forward to a chance to meet you at this year's conference.
Same here, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, seeing everyone else there, both in person and virtually. So let's have some fun. Who doesn't like San Diego? So I'll see you there.
Yes, absolutely. See you there.
That's it for this episode, everybody. A huge shout out to Sardek for sharing his time with us on this episode of On the Road to ATD23. And be sure to check out his session in person or online at this year's conference. Check out the show notes below to connect with Sardek and visit our website to find out more about this year's conference, and make sure to register. Want to know when our final episode of On the Road to ATD23 is going live? Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to be notified when our next video drops. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Jess Thompson with ATD, and we'll see you in San Diego.